Can I ask one more thing since we're in such fascinating ground? Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I dreaming? And I never smoke any dope. Somewhere, but I don't know where, when, or how I heard it. When Bishop Las Casas, the apostle to the end, when he became old and powerful and Archbishop of the New World and all of that, that he had sent an expedition to try and save some vestige of Lucayans, and that he had taken 30 or 40 of them and set them up in some kind of a mission, which was later moved to the Mexican coast, where they lived in a sort of a mission colony for 75 years. And before the Spanish noblemen and people had the fights with the Jesuits, at one point they expelled the Franciscans. The monks were always trying to stop them from being brutalizing the Indians and so forth. And at some time in that turmoil, the Lucayan mission was wiped out. You ever heard something like that?
Yeah, no, the closest, no, I've not heard that exactly, but the closest, I think it's his, like, Historia de las Indias, when he talks about that 1521 slaving expedition where they found no one. He also talked about another expedition where this man from the Dominican Republic, he said he paid at his own cost. They spent 3 weeks traveling through the Bahamas looking to see if they could find any Lucayans, because they understood people would escape and try to go back to the Bahamas. And he said they searched and they didn't. He said they found a couple, a handful of people, but I don't know what became of them. But yeah, this is my biggest challenge to Dr. Pateman when he talks about Lucayans surviving into the late 1500s. In Abaco, in my ship drawing research, I found one ship drawing that I interpreted as Lucayan. It's the only other thing similar or closest to it is in the Dominican Republic, but these two drawings would be Taino and Lucayan interpretations of European ships. Right. And they are drawn from a different perspective than European and Africans who were trained by Europeans would draw European ships. This ship in Abaco, it's deep in a cave, and it's showing an oncoming ship in full sail approaching. Really? If you are being hunted by people who come out in these strange vessels off the ocean, you're going to go deep into an area that you treated as sacred space and put something up like that. The one in the Dominican Republic shows a ship at anchor because the sails are down. It shows the holes where the anchor ropes come through the front. It shows that detail, and there are these little figures approaching, loading the ship with some produce. It's a European ship, but that one is doing something very different than the one in the Bahamas. In the Bahamas, Lucayans became, especially the men, became a high commodity item, and Bishop Las Casas mentioned that because they were very good free divers, and their price shot up because they would send them to those islands near Venezuela to dive pearls, and they literally worked them to death. And if you are going searching for these valuable people, Lucayans needed to use fire. Our islands are very flat. All a ship had to do was lay off any island and wait to see the smoke column, and you just track them. It was very difficult for them to hide in this community, in this archipelago of narrow, flat islands. It was difficult. They could try it, but it wasn't going to last very long.
So, Tony,
we minimize. It's in the southern part, but it's deep in a cave. We don't like to give out the location because people like unique, different things. Or we learned the hard way, just from these ships' drawings. In San Salvador, one of the most beautiful examples, someone tried to chip the plaster off and destroyed it because the plaster broke in half.
Or in Hartford Cave, where somebody, who took a petroglyph and cut it off the rock, the cave.
So for that reason, we don't like to give their location, because you won't do it, but as happened to me at Cricket Island, a friend told a friend, and all of a sudden, all of the grave goods in the graveyard were gone.
So one more thing. Tony Aarons, who was here back in the 70s, 80s, maybe the 90s. Anyway, he was here at the time of the quincentennial, right? He always argued that they were Lucayans. He says Woodes Rogers' proclamation was to the settlers, whites, mulattoes, blacks, slaves, Indians. It lists, I may not be accurate.
No, you're right.
And he said, who were the Indians if they weren't Indians here?
They brought Indians.
No, there's Indians from North America.
But I mean, that's 17.
I just want to...
I agree with you, but I always thought that part was...
William Sale had 2 Indian slaves.
I just want to say a comment. I want to thank you. I'm looking forward to the ongoing partnership and the help, because while we revisit these new discoveries, I don't think you realize, I don't know if the audience sitting here, it's a lot of information that we have to revise. It's a whole lot, and we have a lot to do, because coming out of your conversation and your discoveries with Dr. Keegan, we also have to look at the impact, because we question the students in national exams on this, okay? So we question them for the GLASS, the grade level assessment test, the grade 3 and grade 6. We question them for BJC social studies, and we question them at the history BGCSE level, okay? And so they're all impacted. So from a child hits the grade 1 up, they start hearing it, and so we have to go all the way back now and change. Secondly, a part of what you're sharing too, what I'm really fascinated about it. We also have to look at some of the things that is part of the curriculum that is an offshoot from what you're talking about, because we look also at the controversial landfall theories. So based on everything that
not
you're saying,
controversial anymore.
Yeah, the landfall theories, well, we call it controversial now in the curriculum document that we're revising.
When I did history at COB, we called it controversial also, but if you read it, it's not anymore.
So now all of this has to change, and it's a lot of work, and so I want to thank you personally. I know you and I are working on some other things, and so anytime you're speaking, I try to run to hear what it is that you have to say, to see if there's some new things, and we're changing a whole country and a new curriculum, and so it's a lot of work. It's about time.
And madam, who might you be? Who might you be?
Yes, my name is Pearlie Baker, and I'm the Curriculum Officer at the Ministry of Education, responsible for history, geography, civics, the senior high school.
We're happy to have as a member of the Bahamas Historical Society and a friend.
Yeah.
May I ask one more question? Okay. The reason Columbus wanted to stop at islands was to find water. But why is it, and who told him that there was gold further away?
What was the question?
So he's asking, so Columbus kept stopping at islands because he needed water. There's very little fresh water in the Bahamas, and I don't think the Lucayans would have had enough to satisfy Spanish who were on a ship for several months coming across. Columbus was also very interested in gold.
But who told him?
But the Lucayans had some gold. Not much, but they had. And this is another reason why we know of the trade. We have found gold. I think only one archaeologist has found it, but we know that the Lucayans had gold. So once again, he says they told him. Basically, they were trying to describe Cuba. I think he was pointing to their gold,
Right.
and they were pointing in a direction. Yeah.
And the poison wood was itching them, and they were pointing at the gamalame trees, and that's how he said there was good gum and bad
Yeah.
gum. And you didn't need language for that.
Well, certain things, yeah, because I was taught that with gamalame poison wood also. Sometimes I go in the field and I'm like, oh, this poison wood. Grab the gamalame.
It works.
Oh, it works.
It lasts for 2 hours.
It was good.
Mhm.
Very interesting, Mr. Pateman. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you ministering to us with all your findings and your work. Thank you very much, and as Berlin said, we look forward to the new textbook, the new information. So we're happy to have it as we go along and to teach. As I say in here, we're seeking truth. So that's why I was asking about the question. And so, Dr. Pateman, we sincerely thank you for your presence here tonight. I understand you'll be leaving the Bahamas for a while. Please tell us a little bit about that before you go.
Tuesday, I had Turks and Caicos for 3 years to do some work.
3 years? Yeah, man, that's a disastrous brain drain.
Yeah, so that's why I asked him, because this will probably be your last presentation here before you go.
I leave Tuesday.
Yeah, so I mean in Nassau.
But I'll be back and forth, like as Pearl said, I'm coming back in February.
So you'll be on Grand Turk or all over?
Grand Turk, but I mean all over.
Come visit.
Well, the president is a woman, is a Bahamian, right?
Yeah, I know her, so.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. Pateman, as I say, thank you, because I know you're busy wrapping up and packing up, but we know that you had this information in your head, and I've spoken to you once before, and I heard you say that you're going to make some final analysis about, well, not final, but at least some analysis about what you had discovered. And also, on behalf of the Bahamas Historical Society, we'd like to give you some books to send you on your way to remind you of the Bahamas. Take one more, man. And we'd also like to welcome Dr. Grace Turner. Many of you may not know her, but Dr. Grace Turner is also a member and a wonderful friend. She's always so willing to share. And I'm like, let me get into her brain. So, thank you all very much, and I really appreciate you sharing so much. And everybody's presence here tonight. We're happy that you stayed. We're happy that you got the information firsthand. Please let me remind you of our lecture next month on the 22nd. We'll be having Dr. Christopher Curry at last, and he'll be speaking about land, labor, and the law, homeland, the quest for freedom in the Bahamas. And that will be right here on the 22nd. We'll have parking graciously allowed by the bank, so you can go ahead and park over there. And I just thank you all, so wish you a safe journey home.
Madam